Welcome back everyone. In this video we will be going through our first ability, the attack ability. And as you can see, that's what it will look like when it finishes. And again, going into the reasoning for our abilities before, it is a basic offensive action, it's very responsive, and the logic will simply be for this ability that the input triggers the animation. So let's get started. So here we are in editor again. And as you can see, I am in master character blueprint again. The reason for that is that when you create a character using PaperZD, it will have included components already. One of them is the animation component. And if we click the animation component, we can see an overview of what it is. But if we move to the right hand side of the screen, we can see that there is an anim instance class on the right hand side. For the master character, I'm not going to click this as I don't want all of them to have the same one. Instead, I'm going to navigate to a child of the master player that I made. So I'm going to close the master character for now because our input logic will live in the master player. And I'm going to go to my character that inherits directly from the master player, which you can see on the right hand side, Ray. So for the animation component, which I already have selected, I've gone to the right hand side and I've picked animation blueprint Ray. On top of that, what I've also done is I've made sure that I've added the inputs for the three abilities that we have discussed. So the attack ability, the magic imbue and the shield, I've added all three enhanced input mapping to the actions that are available in the input folder of my project. As you can see in my input folder here, I've got attack, imbue, and shield. And then if I go to my input, I've just got IMC default. When I open that, you can see I've assigned the relevant key presses to the abilities. So that's just something you want to make sure that you've done. You want to make sure that you have selected and created the correct mappings. You also want to make sure that your character is created in PaperZD, because if it isn't, it won't have that animation component included. Okay, so now that we've done that, we also need to think about what else is needed to get into this before we start. So again, I've mentioned the fact that you will need sprites, and I find them on itch.io. And once you've imported your sprites and you're experimenting with the PaperZD plugin, which I will provide documentation for, you need to create an animation blueprint for the sprite. And as you can see here, I've got an animation blueprint, I've got my animation sequences, I've got my animation source flipbook, and I've got my character there as well. So again, I will reference documentation that shows you how to do this, but for a very simple overview, all you're going to want to do is going to right click and then you're going to look for PaperZD, and as you can see, you have your PaperZD animation blueprint, which I call mine ABP Ray, and then you're going to have your animation source and your animation sequences. For your animation source, if I double click this and open it here, you will see that I have a variety of different flipbooks that I've put in. And if I select any one of these as an example, so as you can see, that is breaking a run, it's falling, it's death, etc. And again, I don't want to go over the basic fundamentals of PaperZD, but as you can see, it's essentially you get a flipbook and you use that as your animation data. So it's very similar to the 3D style of animation in Unreal, except you're using flipbooks rather than animation montages. And the good thing about PaperZD as well is that you can use animation notifiers too. So when you're in a certain frame, say an attack, and you're having the sword at like the halfway point, you can then fire off a notify, which again, like a 3D workflow, will enable you to apply a line of sphere trace, which you could then, in theory, apply damage with. Okay, so that's just a bit of an overview for PaperZD and how it works in terms of the animation source and the animation blueprint, as well as the attached components. In the next video, we're going to have a look at the graph, and then we're going to go more into the attackability.